Sorry there, I was muted. Hiya. Good evening. Hi, everybody. How are you guys? Doing another Murder and Moisturize this week. I know I missed last week. I do apologize. I had a lot going on. Today, I'll be discussing the wrongful imprisonment of Kevin Strickland. Now, maybe you guys have heard it a little bit in the news. I don't know. I'm not too sure. But I mean, this guy, I basically read about this story in a newspaper, and then I looked him up a little bit, saw some clips on YouTube where basically he did an interview from prison where this man has actually been convicted and sentenced for a crime he didn't commit. Now, I'm going to, talk a little bit about actually the crime that they are accusing him of. And I shouldn't say accusing him of, the crime that they actually convicted this man for. He has actually up to date been in prison for 43 years. Now, can you imagine? He's 62 years old now. He was hoping to spend his 62nd birthday out. Hey, GSP, thanks for joining. He was, hoping to spend his 62nd birthday out of prison and be vindicated, but that still hasn't happened till this day. Now, apparently, yes, yeah, I saw that. I actually you know what? Thank you, GSP, because before I was thinking of doing a little, how should I say, recap of true crime that's been going on, to be fair. So I might actually do that, and then I'll get into Kevin Strickland's injustice case. Now, what's been going on lately? Thank you, GSP. Again, Bill Cosby, has been let out on a technicality. This man has been let out on a technicality. How do we feel about this? Let me know in the comments. Like, how do you guys feel about, when I saw it, I was like, what? Like, I had to click on this breaking news headline on my phone and say, hold on, why? Like, what about all the women? Like, what about all the women? But then I'm reading some of the comments, and people are like, some of the comments on YouTube, I mean, underneath these news videos, it's like they're talking about how some people are saying, finally he's been vindicated. Finally, people are seeing the truth. And, we knew this man was innocent all along and blah, blah, blah. A lot of other people are like, what's going on? So I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I mean, he got lucky, I suppose, and money helps again. But then we've got Lori Vallow, because I didn't want to do a whole video on her. I've already covered her, but just an update on her. She's been now indicted for the murder of her latest husband, the one that allegedly her brother got into a fight with. If you've seen the documentary or the footage, that we've seen from the body cam of the police officer that attended the house, you saw that the brother claimed that her ex-husband had attacked him in the house and came up to him with a gun. And now she's now been indicted. But obviously it was suspicious already from then on, wasn't it? It was suspicious, the fact that the man had been telling the police that this woman was a danger. Her ex-husband has been telling the police that this woman is talking about demons and the fact that he's a demon and things about the kids being this. And, she was all into the religion stuff. So, I mean, this fake cult BS, should I say, it's nothing to do with religion. Let me correct myself. It's nothing to do with religion. But yeah, so she's now been officially indicted. I mean, the newspaper ads that I found, because I had to do a bit of research for her, it says that she has already been charged in the deaths of her 2 children, which we know about. But now she's also accused of conspiring with her brother to kill her ex-husband. So, I mean, she's been charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit first degree murder. The Maricopa County Attorney's Office said, basically in a statement, and the grand jury had charged her on Thursday. She's accused of agreeing with her brother, Alex Cox, to kill Vallow's ex-husband, Charles Vallow, in 2019. Before Charles Vallow died, he had filed for divorce. Remember, I covered that in the previous episode. I'll add the link after I finish the live today if you guys haven't seen it. And apparently he called 911 on of July 2019 and told the police that he fatally shot him. So I haven't seen the Life Dive movie. I've heard that there's one here, but I haven't looked it up yet. Thanks, Leslie. But yeah, so she's been indicted. And then the other one I wanted to actually talk about, because I wanted to cover his case as well, is the fact that the guy, that crazy guy who decided to represent himself, Ronnie O'Neill, he has been found guilty and has been charged with the murder of his ex-girlfriend, or should I say his girlfriend, their daughter, and attempted murder of the son, who at the time was 8, but now he is 11 years old. And I don't know if you kind of saw what was going on, but the little boy actually was a state witness in the case for the prosecutors. And so he had to sit in the witness, in the witness, should I say, in court. He had to be a witness in court and sit there. And since his dad was representing himself, dad was able to question him and ask him questions, like a lawyer does in court. And yeah, so I mean that must have been traumatizing for the boy. He apparently he had a dog with him for I'm only assuming as an emotional support animal, and he was found guilty. Oh God, I just dropped it. He was found guilty, and he was sentenced to life without parole for killing basically the girlfriend, the daughter, and the son. Now, a little bit, if you don't want to hear the graphic details I'm about to share, I just want to warn you a little bit about what I'm about to say, because the details are, when it comes to the daughter, apparently he attacked the 9-year-old daughter with a hatchet. And I mean, even the police officers, the people that went into the house, because he ended up killing the mom, killing the daughter. I mean, she was unrecognizable, beyond recognition, they said. The police officers that actually went into the house, because after he ended up shooting and I think stabbing the mom, chopped up the daughter beyond recognition, as I said, and then attempted to kill the son as well. But the little boy survived. He remembers his dad standing on top of his body and lighting a match because he set the house on fire. And then the little boy ended up escaping with, third degree burns and all sorts, and survived. He's now 11 years old, bless him. And I'm glad the man never can come out. I mean, that gives this little boy, as much as that's his dad and that's his DNA, the trauma alone, the PTSD that he'll take away from this for life will just be awful, won't it? I mean, for him to know that my dad, the emergency services that picked him up, remember, the first thing he said to them is, my dad killed my mum. My dad shot my mum. These people who rescued the boy were traumatized seeing, the scene. I mean, one police officer said it was so dark. A firefighter said it was dark. And at one point he kept slipping and couldn't understand why the floor was so slippery. Come to realize it was blood all over the place. Can you imagine? Blood all over the place, and it was just horrific, absolutely horrific. Bless the boy who survived. Bless the mom and the daughter who died together, unfortunately, that night. And we can only say we keep them in our prayers. This man has been diagnosed with PTSD as well as a delusional disorder, because he claimed that the woman was a demon. He claimed all sorts, the usual mentally schizophrenic story where, hey Ablavi, thanks for joining, where they're claiming that they had to do this, as per usual. But let's not forget to moisturize. I've still got my stuff. I'm kind of running a bit low now. I've already washed my face, mind you, with the cleanser, because I do like to do it with water now. So I'm just gonna do my usual moisturize session as I'm carrying on. But that was the stories of this week that I wanted to kind of recap on. But let's hope, that Lori Vallow gets the brunt of, you know, the justice system. I hope this woman goes to jail for killing her children. She goes to jail for killing her brother. I mean, she goes to jail for it all. The fact that she pretended her daughter was still alive and had her mobile phone and all of that, you know, the details in that case alone are horrible as well. So yeah, I hope she gets caught. She gets sentenced to life imprisonment, to be fair, her and that weird cult running guy. But yeah, like I said, those were the little stories I wanted to recap. But thanks everybody for joining, and the ones that have just come in. I did with the main story I did want to cover today is the one about Kevin Strickland. So I'll go back to his case, and then I can kind of give you a little bit of a recap as to why this man was wrongfully imprisoned in the first place. Now, apparently, this is the allegations. Even though he was imprisoned, it was wrongful because there were people charged, and people did, how do you say it, confess to doing this crime. Now, Kevin Strickland was sentenced in the 1970s to a year after he was arrested for a gruesome triple homicide. Now, I'm using the Fenty moisturizer, by the way. It's a Hydrovisor moisturizer with SPF 30, so it's great for in the daytime also, by the way. I'm running out of this. I'm going to have to get some more this week. So, yeah, he was accused of a gruesome triple homicide. They said that he took the lives of 20-year-old John Walker and 22-year-old Sherry Black and 21-year-old Larry Ingram. Now, it took place apparently in a place more than 2 miles away from his home at the time where he was staying, his family home. Now, they are saying that at the time he was 18 years old. He claims his alibi was he was at home watching television, as you do, you know, and talking on the phone with friends or whoever he was speaking to. He was on and off the phone that night when the crime occurred. Now, relatives actually have confirmed his alibi at the time. They said that it wasn't until the next morning that the police started accusing him of the triple murder, because when they went, you know, usually when a crime happens, they go and canvass the area, don't they? They go around, ask neighbors, knocking doors and all that, gathering information. So they did that the first night and never even, you know, spoke, you know, thought anything of this man or accused him of anything. Now, the second night, the second morning now, they all of a sudden are saying that he's the guilty one. He did it. He committed the triple murder and etc. Now, he remembers thinking, this can't be happening to me because he wasn't there. I mean, the crime shook the local community. While Strickland was in custody and charged with the murders, two other suspects named Vincent Bell and Kilm Atkins, right, were on the run. The police apparently arrested them later on for that particular crime also. So now they've got two offenders arrested for this triple murder, but then they've got Kevin Strickland on the other hand, also accused and is arrested at this moment in time in jail for this murder. Now, or should I say, awaiting to go to court for this murder in 1979. Now, the police said they had found Strickland's fingerprint on Bell's car. Strickland, who's grown up with Bell, said he'd driven that car on multiple occasions. Now, this is where the police kind of tries to always catch people and accuse the wrong people. A lot of the time when you're friends with someone, or you may have been around this person, if your particular fingerprints are found at the crime scene or at this person's house, now all of a sudden they want to accuse you of having something to do with it. It's very easy for them to pull you into the crime, even though you may be claiming and, you know, claiming your innocence. They can claim you have something to do with it, with that evidence, because fingerprints at the end of the day is crucial evidence in many crime, in many court cases. It's very crucial when they've got your fingerprints on the scene. You've got to now explain away why your fingerprints were there in the first place. Now, you can tell them you were a friend of a friend or whatever, but I mean, they're still going to look at you and ask you where you were at that particular time. And if they can find gaps in your alibi and, I suppose, accuse you of doing this, it's very easily done. This is how the corrupt police always gets people, don't they? But then the police said that they had found Strickland. As I said, they found his fingerprints. Now, he had actually lived 2 houses between his family. The guy that they are accusing him of murdering, Bell, had lived between his family home and my home. So they actually lived close together. And when he met him, he was in the 6th grade, Strickland said. So he knew this guy, right? But, hold on, sorry, my phone. Strickland said he'd only seen Bell and Atkins earlier on the day that the murder had happened. So at 5 or 6 p.m., he didn't know what they'd planned to do that night at the time, right? Oh, sorry. Bell is one of the guys accused, the 2 guys that have been convicted of the same crime. So he had seen them earlier in the day, but had nothing to do with them and didn't know what they were up to that night. So at the time, he said that he confided in Cynthia Douglas, the only surviving victim. She knew him and she knew he was not involved. But Douglas later pointed him out as one of the shooters in the police lineup. Now, I've actually looked into his story, and there was this one particular woman that knew him, you know, and knew he had nothing to do with this, but she has actually spoken up for the first time now and has said that the police back then had told her all she has to do is say that it was him and the case is closed. So again, these corrupt police officers, again, racist police officers who, you know, we know these cases happened back then, 1970s, the 80s, whatever. These people, these corrupt police officers, mainly white, right, would always be very easily, and you know, without even going home and still going to bed without even feeling guilty, I suppose, would carry what should I say, would gather witnesses just and then tell these people to just point out the black guy, the one that they, you know, had planned to put in jail. Easy done, case closed, sent, you know, even the jurors back then were majority white, let's be real. So they're looking at this man thinking he's out here murdering us and all this. Like, we all know how it goes. It was just awful what happened to this man. So he then she then actually, you know, confessed to the fact that these police officers convinced her to lie. And then he, you know, felt so heartbroken, the fact that this woman did that to him. He was in total disbelief, even though he knew, you know, in his heart he was innocent. He didn't think, he never thought he was gonna get convicted. He believed the system would work. You know, we've heard this so many times. We all believe the system would work, especially when you know you haven't done it. He then, you know, he thought, you know, they don't make mistakes like this. This is a capital murder charge. That's what he was thinking at the time. It's a big deal. They're not going to just put him in jail for a capital murder he hasn't committed. So his first trial ended in a hung jury. Now, the only black juror was the lone holdout. Can you believe this? The only juror that stopped this from going through was a black juror who decided, I'm not going with the guilty verdict. So it was a hung jury. He'll never forget it, he said when he was in court. After that trial, the prosecutor at the time came over to his table and he said he's still sitting there with his attorney. And the prosecutor told him, I'll make sure this doesn't happen next time. So what that meant was, right, is that the second trial, the prosecutor used every one of his what did he say? And this is a quote from his lawyer. He said that in the second trial, the prosecutor used every one of his peremptory strikes to strike the remaining black jurors from the pool. So he wanted the juror pool to be all white in order to guarantee this man's conviction, even though, you know, people knew he was innocent and it wasn't proven that he had anything to do with it, because it was never proven. Remember, if he had killed 3 people, there would have been more than just his fingerprints on the crime scene, don't you think? It was never proved. There was nothing to back up their witness statements. You know what I mean? The witness statements were all fabricated. So Mr. Strickland was convicted by an all-white jury the second time. He says he totally believes race played a role in his conviction. He says that he was not given the presumption of innocence during his second trial. They all assumed he was guilty. He didn't know if he could cry that bad. He said he never realized he could cry this bad. You know, the amount of crying that this man did. If you go and look him up, I mean, this is what he looks like. Look on the thumbnail. This man has gray hair. He's old. He has, you know, in that clip that I watched from ABC News, this man has been, his health has deteriorated. He really can't really walk. He's in a wheelchair. You know, she asked him things like, what are you going to do, you know, when you do get out? He said, what can I do? Get a cardboard box and live in it, he said. Get a cardboard box and live in it. Because he said he hasn't got anything else. What else has he got? He hasn't got nothing to his name, remember. And then the worst thing, I mean, let me just carry on with the case. So, you know, it was just sad. I mean, watching his interview was just sad. It's sad. And I mean, both the other two guys who were convicted, Bell and Atkins, ultimately admitted to the murders and cleared Strickland from any role in the crime in a sworn confession. So they have cleared this man with their confessions, you know, that he had nothing to do with this and was nowhere near. But he's still in jail today. Till this day, this man is still in jail eating, you know, crappy prison food. This man deserves more than that. He's been eating crappy prison food and living in a 5x8 cell for 43 years. He spent 43 birthdays in jail. And when he actually sits there, you would assume you would go mad, right? You would think you would go crazy being there for 43 years, knowing you've been innocent all along. You know, during a press conference earlier this month, Prosecutor Baker, who was not involved in the original case, said it is important to recognize when the system has made wrongs, and what we did in this case was wrong. See, yet again, a lot of the times you find prosecutors that are prosecuting people in order for them to get a stripe on their, you know, shoulder, a stripe on their bloody record, you know, on their, should I say, as part of their, you know, accolades that they've had so many cases and blah, blah, blah. People don't have real emotion anymore in a lot of jobs that involve decisions that change people's lives. There's no empathy, there's no sympathy for human life, because if that was your family member or you were the one accused, you wouldn't want that to happen to you. Let's just be real. It's just the injustice of it all. It's disgusting. And the fact that he's not the only one, let's just remember that this man is not the only one that's sat in a jail cell for something he hadn't done. Police officers would always get witnesses in and just point out people left, right, and center in order to just close the case, even though they haven't got enough proof to enough, should I say, evidence to prove that they were at the scene or were involved, like 100% guaranteed. It's always being convicted by a white jury pool or whatever. You know what I mean? When it comes to black men who are in prison wrongfully, you know, it's just wrong. It's wrong. Strickland said the recognition of his innocence does help, but, you know, he said it helps coming from her. This is a woman that now recognized and has spoken up, you know, in front of her peers and said that they did him wrong. So, you know, he's always maintained his innocence, but others began to reconsider the case in 2009 when they received an unexpected email from Douglas. They are basically, this is the the MIP program. I think, what's the full name on this program? It's one of those innocent programs, you know, the ones that help people. If you write a letter to them, they're willing to look into look into your case and see if they can get you out of prison. So this particular woman, the prosecutor, who had nothing to do with the first two trials, had written a letter to them, and she said that she was seeking info on how to help somebody who was wrongfully accused, and I was the only eyewitness, and things were not clear back then, but now I know that I would like to help this person if I can. Douglas. Oh no, sorry, sorry, mistake. Douglas is the lady that had been told by the police back in 1979 to just point him out and case is closed. So she, again, sometimes guilt creeps up on people decades later. This woman clearly couldn't live with herself, felt like she had to write a letter and put it on paper, the fact that this man is innocent and that her witness statement actually shouldn't have been used because it wasn't fair. So she eventually told the relatives that the police had pressured her during the lineup, and that they told her, and her now ex-husband had actually said that she would have, you know, basically she told her husband at the time, who's now her ex-husband, that the police told her and pressured her into picking out Strickland in the lineup, even though she knew it wasn't him. And, you know, she's always apparently felt bad. But again, you saying that you always feel bad, and it hasn't done anything for this man. You could have helped him, you know, let's say 40 years ago, you could have saved this man 40 years of his life to live on the outside. Like he could have had a life on the outside world. Whereas now, like, he hasn't had no kids. You know, this man was in his early 20s, remember, when he went to jail. I think he was 19 actually, because now he's 62. He's been in jail for 43 years. That's awful. 43 years. Just contemplate that. 43 years. 1 year would be bad enough, sitting somewhere when you're innocent. Do you know what I mean? And then you've got to think, year upon year upon year, your birthday come and goes, your birthday come and goes, your new year come and goes. It's just, yeah, it's just sad. Now, in the past couple of weeks, though, people are trying to fight for his release. So the other week, the Missouri office of the governor announced 36 pardons. Now, listen, look at this now. Missouri, right, yeah, the man who sits in the office of governors, the governor of Missouri, basically, has given 36 people a pardon, but Strickland wasn't on the list. Strickland wasn't on the list. When will this man be let out? Why are they torturing this man any longer than he needs to be in? He never needed to be in there, never. But you decided, no, I'm going to torture this black man some more. And to me, when you see this Missouri governor talk anyway, he just looks and comes across like a bloody slave master. I swear to God, it seems like he takes joy in having control over this man's life. Now, I'm going to quote in a minute what he had to say recently about this case, right? But he pardoned 36 people, and Strickland wasn't one of them. Now, he said, when something like this, i.e. Strickland's case, comes up, we look at those cases, but I don't know if that necessarily makes it a priority to jump in front of the... It doesn't make it... The fact that this man has been in jail for 43 years doesn't make it a priority to jump in front of people, right? Because some of these people on the list, it was an injustice to that extent, okay? This man has been in jail for 43 years, and now they decide, we're not going to put you on the list. And then he, mind you, can you imagine the torture? He finds out about the list. His lawyer will probably tell him and let him know that's the list, and you still haven't made the list. People don't want you to make the list. How awful. How awful. I mean, it's just awful. He continues and says, his name is Parsons. We understand some cases are going to draw more attention than others through the media, but we're just going to look at those things. Strickland has served now more than 15,000 days. 15,000 days behind bars. If he's exonerated, his term will be the one. His term being in prison, 15,000 days, will be one of the longest wrongful imprisonments in US history. In US history, people. This man has been sitting in jail for 43 years, and when the day comes, which it will come soon, let's just pray and hope it does come sooner rather than later, and this man actually comes out of jail alive and gets to have a bit of a taste of the life that we all take for granted, being able to go for a walk, being able to just enjoy outside and be free. You know what I mean? Like, this man will be one of the longest wrongfully imprisoned people in US history. You know, it's just wrong. Everyone knows that it works. That everyone that works in this system, they said, must find a way to do the right thing. Like, anybody who works in the justice system, petition up, do something to help this man, because he shouldn't be in jail. He should be out enjoying his life. And you know, the one thing that got to me in this interview that he did, he said that his mum is really ill. His brother was also interviewed, and the brother said he doesn't think his mother will make it another year or two because she's really, really ill. Obviously, she's an older lady, and she hopes and they pray that she'll be able to witness her son come out of jail, the son that she hasn't seen, you know, I should say, face to face, and hugged him and touched him for 43 years. It's awful. You know, apparently under the Missouri law, those who have been exonerated, this is what really got me, and that really got me angry. Under Missouri law, those who have been exonerated do not, and I repeat, they do not get any compensation. They don't get any compensation. So this man will be, like he said, come out of jail and he'll live in a cardboard box, is what he said, because he hasn't got a leg. His legs are broken, not broken, but I was going to say he hasn't got a leg to stand on. But what I mean is, you know, sorry about the pun, but this man is in a wheelchair. He said even the wheelchair he's sitting in, the prison is going to claim back as soon as he steps out of the doors. He's going to have to crawl out of the doors because he's got no wheelchair to take, because it's state property. So, I mean, Missouri, the state of Missouri, for some reason, they're holding on to him. They're holding on to him. They don't understand what else, right, he needs to do to prove his innocence. For decades, the State Attorney General Office has fought nearly every wrongful conviction case, according to the Injustice Watch. For Strickland, a commutation of his sentence would not be enough. He wants to be pardoned or exonerated. He just doesn't want to be let out the back door. They have to clear his name and, you know, put it on paper and apologize to this man. You know, commutation, apparently, commutation is kind of saying, I did it, but you feel like I have served enough time. So again, what I'm going to say, this justice system that works against the black man, want this black man who is innocent to leave with a commutation, which means he's going to say, yeah, I did it. And you think 43 years is enough to cover the crime that I said I did? And, you know, let me out because 43 years is enough. That's disgusting. That is you know, these are the times, besides bloody Trump's BS, right? Yeah. America is not the place to be. Honestly, I'm not saying anywhere else is. Yes, I actually, anywhere else right now looks like a better option, doesn't it? If it's just awful. If you are stuck in that justice system, pray. All you can do is pray. All you can do is pray, because it definitely works against you, you know. And Strickland is refusing. He's not going to allow himself to be let out on a commutation. He wants it to be scrapped. He wants it to be wiped out of his, you know, of his name. He never wants this to be, even with Google, think about it. This man could be out and then trying to live his life, and then you Google him and he's been done for triple murder. It's just awful. You know, he denied it from the start and he's still here. He said that he doesn't understand. Mind you, listen to this now. The two men that said he had nothing to do with it and actually pleaded guilty to the case, right? The two men that pleaded guilty have basically gone to jail, admitted it. They went to jail and they are out. They have been convicted of, I think, they did 10 or 12 years each, and they've been let out. But he's been denying it all along, and he's still there. He can't understand. This man said he can't even put his feelings into words anymore. He just become numb to it. You know, it's just his childhood home is now just an empty lot. He can't even go back to where he knew as home. The house no longer is standing there. Sorry. The one thing that I forgot, and I think that's one fact I got wrong, is he has got a daughter. He's got a daughter, apparently. And that's one thing that he said really, really hurt him. The fact that he really hates that he missed out on his daughter growing up, calling somebody else dad. That's heartbreaking for him, he said. This man is just, you know, it's awful. You know, his dad is still alive. He visited him. You know what I mean? His dad can't. His dad used to visit him all the time with his brother, but he passed away in 2011. Like I said, his mum is still alive, and he hopes he can still see his mum. You know, and the fact that he has nothing. He says he's going to live under a bridge with a cardboard box. It's just awful. The system hasn't done anything for this man besides ruin his life. He has no, footprint in this life where the things that me and you, we've all done. He hasn't done nothing. He's got to come out. Nobody will give him a job, even though they'll exonerate. Like, how is he supposed to start life? And then you wonder why people commit, terrible crime. I shouldn't say commit terrible crimes, but people, decide to end their life because there's nothing to live for. That's how you're going to feel, aren't you? Now, the Missouri legislature has just passed a bill, the Senate Bill 53, which allows a prosecutor to file a motion from a new trial to overturn a wrongful conviction. So now they've changed the law a little bit, just so that the law can go into, it says it goes into effect on August the 28th. So if you go to jail and you're wrongly convicted, a prosecutor has the power to overturn that and have that case be looked at again. So I suppose you have a chance for your case to be looked at quicker, I think. So, when she asked this man, what do you miss? And he wants to just be able to walk on a beach. You know what I mean? Be able to see a clear ocean, the things that we all of us have had a chance to do. Do you know what I mean? Oh, it's a lot. I mean, it's just absolutely awful. I had to cover his case. I felt like it was just, it was necessary to just, I nearly copy and pasted something I shouldn't have. I'm going to drop the link now. So, if you want to join me, come and join me. Otherwise, it's not going to be a long one today. The fact that this Missouri governor, like I said, who sounds like a bloody slave master, this Missouri governor, Mike Parson, talking about he doesn't really know if this man is innocent and how can we, apparently 41 Action News sat down with him, right, the other day, and spoke to him about the possibility of Kevin Strickland's release. And he's saying that he's not 100% convinced that this man is innocent, even though two people have admitted and confessed to the crime. He's not convinced that this man is innocent. He says it's pretty easy on the outside to say that, hey, he's innocent, but Parsons says that he doesn't know whether he's innocent. He says that other than the facts that I read, and then you have to determine, yes, this is something we should look at. And he said we did in great lengths. But in May, Jackson County prosecutor Jean Peters Baker joined members from the Midwest Innocence Project. Oh, that's what MIP stood for, the Midwest Innocence Project. And they looked into this, and they're presenting new evidence on the case. So, it's just awful. The co-defendants in this case described the events of the shooting and named other individuals involved, none of them who were Kevin. So even though he was fully convinced of Strickland's innocence, Parson has said there could be an opportunity for Strickland to appeal the conviction through new legislation. The other thing we also realize is there's legislation coming that's going to affect that case, Parson says, and we're going to more than likely sign that into law. So, he says, I won't say that for sure because I'm always hesitant until it goes through a process. If it is signed into law, Parsons said it would give Strickland an avenue to appeal in August. So again, they're saying basically this man can appeal for his freedom that he should have been granted, by the way, from the beginning in August. All I could think about when I saw Mike Parsons standing there talking about he's going to pardon 36 people, but he didn't make the list, it just made me think, if that was either his brother, his son, his uncle, a family member, would you allow this man to sit in jail 1 minute longer if he was found innocent, just like Kevin? They wouldn't allow it. Why does this keep happening? Why do they allow these men? This is like slavery times. They are controlling this man's life as if they haven't damaged him enough already. He came out the other end doing 43 years, still came out sane enough to speak and represent himself, because even when he speaks, he sounds very intelligent. Don't get it twisted. He sounds very intelligent. So it's like, what did you expect to happen? Because when they send you to prison, they expect prison to break you. They don't expect it to, a place for you to actually better yourself and come out the other end speaking better than you did when you actually got there. I mean, hey, thanks for joining, Les. Yeah, where do you start?
You don't, and this is like one of the many stories that you hear about, and you're just like, oh, that doesn't happen anymore. That doesn't actually happen. It does. A lot of people are wrongfully convicted because it's convenient for whoever's prosecuting it. Okay, you know what? Guess what? If I get this conviction, then now I have a higher rate.
No, or even the police officers, because remember, it still has to go through the stage of arrest and we think you're guilty before it gets to that prosecutor's table, doesn't it?
Yeah, you get a higher record.
Yeah. So I think it's
numbers
more
don't the bonuses and stuff for that.
I think it's more the police officer's side when it comes to statistics, wanting the numbers of arrests and convictions that they pass on then. Do you know, because they all, remember how many cases do we see even on TV where they say the prosecutor and the police are way too close. They're way too, meshed. Do you know what I mean? Whereas then the cases now it's starting to look more like a personal relationship, because if I scratch your back, you'll scratch mine, right?
But the DAs and the police always work together, and there's a very clear reason for that, because you don't want somebody to get off.
I mean, working together, doing the right thing. So
you expect them to work together, but this is like conspiracy. This is craziness. I think that when he gets out, I hope to God that the community comes together as a whole, and that even if the government doesn't do right by him, I hope that we do right.
That's what I was saying. Like, where are all these? I wouldn't even say, even the celebrities. Let's call all of them out. Like, hashtag free this man. Like, GoFundMe, and you know, I'm sure celebrities could everybody could drop $1,000 and it would be a lot of money, right? So it's not even
I'm pretty sure that he will be taken care of, because you have these undercover celebrities who do a lot of good and they don't necessarily
100%. Yeah. I mean, where is Jay-Z in this case? Where's Kim K? Like, give this man a little bit of money to set himself up and do something with his life, and have.
He can appeal. How is he going to pay somebody to actually? Because even if he gets a public defendant, that's still state paid.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Who is he going to pay?
No, at the moment, because he's working with the what did I say it was called? The MIP, that project. Yeah, because they have their own lawyers, don't they, in house? So they will help him with all of that and fund it. But the thing is, that when this woman said people who have been convicted and exonerated they don't get respiratory, I could have just cried. Like, at least when you
sue them legally.
No, but at least when you hear that, oh, he's been in jail for 18 years, but when he came out, you've got a case where they're giving you millions. I'm not saying I'm going to trade 18 years of my life for money, but I'm just saying, if you're the one who had,
you know how many milestones he missed. How old was this kid when he went away?
He's been in there for 43 years. He's now 62. He spent his 62nd birthday in jail. It was
his
recently.
Father died when he was in jail. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, and his mom's on the way out now. So it's like his brother said his mom's not going to make another year or two.
The fact that we have an Innocence Project and that it's like a thriving thing.
Oh, yes.
In and of itself.
Yes.
The fact that we need an agency to go after, because there's so many cases like this.
Yes.
This is a problem.
Yes. Ablavi, we know Bill Cosby's out of jail. I covered that in the beginning. You're late.
and then people like Bill Cosby just walking out of jail.
Yeah, because again, he can afford it. They can. Money, for some reason, finds you the loopholes, doesn't it? It finds you those little corners that me and you probably couldn't find because we don't have the money to find it. So me and you would be sitting and rotting away in jail. Whereas,
and then you say, well, I keep my nose out of trouble. I don't, but it doesn't sound like this guy was really much to get himself into trouble. You know, like,
I mean, this man, it was just sad. He's in a wheelchair. He said his legs have given up on him. You know, he's not who he used to be. You know,
they're not feeding him like properly. They're not giving him.
I mean, his age, I suppose, and I don't know. He said his knees have given up on him a little bit. You know, when the woman asked him, the interviewer, she said, "Where are you gonna go?" He said, "Take a cardboard box." He said, "Even the chair is not mine, a wheelchair. It's state property." So he said, "I'm going to go and live under the bridge." Like, he kind of made a joke about it, but it's shocking. He hasn't got a pot to piss in, Leslie. How is that possible? You know, and then you've got
you turn around and you look at people who've been imprisoned for like 20, 30 years for like a minor charge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's awful.
You wonder why they're angry when they get out. Yeah, they're angry.
I mean, suicidal, all sorts, isn't it? If you think about it, you would feel like there's nothing to live for. You would feel, imagine technology alone. Like, what? This man would come out and see a flat screen TV and think, what the hell is this? Like, everything is 43 years, Leslie. This is 1978.
Cell phones weren't a thing. Remote control.
Oh my God.
Was a thing. Like,
it's crazy.
Think about it. Think about, like, if somebody goes to pick him up from jail and they have heated seats in their car, he's going to be like, what is that?
What is everything? Like, it's like somebody taking somebody out an environment. All is known, you know, is being locked up. The fact that, and this is the thing, GSP as well, the fact that he's still sane and intelligent enough to sit there and do that interview and not come across like some mad black man was, you know, praise to him, because he still sounds very well put together. You know what I mean? They didn't break him. It didn't get him down. He definitely kept himself mentally and spiritually together.
And that's why they've kept him there that long.
You know what I mean? And that's another thing. They want you to be broken and crazy. They want you to just be in yourself, you know, pooing all over yourself, covered in feces, so they can have a joke and say, look, he's crazy over there. You know what? That's what they want. Just so they then can drug you up. Again, money making with the drugs. You know, it's just all money making. The longer you're there, can you imagine how much? You know what they should do? Pay him back all his commissary. Pay him back all his phone call money that he spent
What
on
they need
phone
to do
calling
is
his family
privatize
members.
prisons. What they
You
need to
know,
do is making prisons
that's
private.
what they need to do. If that doesn't give him some sort of pocket money, then I don't know what will. You know, refund him back all the things that he spent money on, toiletries, whatever they charged him while he was there. Because I know you got to buy everything. You know what I mean? Give him back something. And, you know, this is even the injustice system. I mean, I don't think they're funded like that. They're probably, like what you said, privately funded by people that we don't know about, right? Who are funding these type of places to stay in business.
They're not for profit.
Yeah.
And, you know, thank God for them, because if I had the money, I'd handle that also. But
I know.
The truth
Where
is
are
that
they? Like the Beyoncés and the Rihannas and all these people that want to be on social media, do something.
My girl Riri does a bunch of good stuff. She just doesn't say it. That's why I like her.
No, I'm just saying, like, do something. You hear about these stories. This man's gonna come out of jail. He hasn't got a pot to piss in. You know what I mean? Hold on, let me see what GSP is saying. This is so slow. Hold on.
Stop.
I had an inmate go into.
Wow. Like, yeah, that's right. iPods, things that you take for granted. CDs weren't even a thing. This guy was still using.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah. You were probably still putting in the Amtraks in the car. Isn't that what they call it? 8-tracks?
Yeah. Amtrak is a train.
Sorry, Amtraks, you know. Amtrak is the train, right? See, I knew I had something mixed up there. Yeah.
Yeah, and vinyl, the 45s. That's how you would get a single back in the day. I'm dating myself now.
You know, that block that looked like you have to stick it in there or whatever. I remember that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, right now he seems sane, but like I said, it's processing things now little by little like a baby. How is he going to process, let's say, the self-checkout service at the supermarket? How is he going to process credit cards, bank cards? The fact that you can just beep with your phone.
Like this.
The fact that you can just beep with your phone. Oh my God. You'll be like, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? The fact that you can talk to your phone.
I hope that the Innocence Project has like a thing where after.
I'm sure they're giving him counseling and stuff. Yeah.
No, this person's going to need a one-on-one. They're going to need like almost like a home health aide for him. Like
maybe. Yeah. Well, like, I mean, since he's in a wheelchair, he might need a carer for the rest of his life anyway, to come in a couple of hours a day and do stuff for him. I don't know. I mean, like he said, he has a daughter. The one thing that I could relate to is the way he said his daughter, the fact that his daughter grew up and is calling somebody else dad for all those years is what he said really he finds really difficult to accept. Yeah.
And that's just crazy.
It's sad. It's really sad.
They literally robbed his life. Like, I didn't think it was possible. Like, people are talking about like stealing identities. No, this is what identity theft feels like.
Yeah. No, honestly, to be in a position where you're sitting there, you know you haven't done it, and they come with these statements, and this witness knows you were there, and this witness knows you were there. We're doing a lineup. Get yourself ready. Can you imagine the psychology, the mental abuse of it all, and him thinking, nah, the system's going to work. I didn't do it. You know, there's no way they're going to. Remember, that's what you would think. I'm innocent. There's no way they're going to convict me. For you to then go in a lineup to then be told she actually picked you, then you're going to think, hold on, why would she pick me?
I would be like, you're lying.
I wasn't even there. I'm sure he'll be fine. I'm sure she picked the wrong person. Like, I wasn't there. It's still going to be proven. 43 years. 43. He hoped he was going to be out this year for his 62nd birthday. But again, this Missouri bastard, this Missouri governor, for some reason, is playing God with his life. And you know what? He can burn in hell for all I care. Because at the end of the day, it's like he takes pride in it. I swear, you should look him up. The way he speaks, he looks like a slave master who takes pride.
What do you think jail in America is, if not a slave system?
No, I know. And I've watched plenty of documentaries and I've read plenty. The fact that it's just all about making money. There was a time where the prisons weren't as full as how much they wanted it. The capacity was less than what the prison actually was. And they would make sure put in black man after black man after black man after black man
for the war on drugs came from.
For the most minor things, even the war on drugs, the equivalent of what they would have, they decided remember the white middle class and rich people were always using cocaine. Now all of a sudden somebody came up with the idea of let's break it up and make the crack version. Remember, crack is the cheaper version of cocaine. Simple. So the white people will take the nice little powdered sugar powder that looks attractive, and then the shitty neighborhoods, they decided to spread this crack version of cocaine that was so much more poignant and addictive that it would destroy your life much quicker. Whereas white people still had careers in Wall Street and were snorting cocaine in the evenings. You know what I mean? So it's awful. And then now, you know, this man has been in jail for 43 years. For what? For what? Oh, did I drop you?
Sorry. Yeah.
That's right. It's all right. So it's just like, why do these things keep happening? It is slavery. They designed these prisons in order to fill them with people, black people, if that. Men, black men, the majority are black men, plenty of white men, but the majority are young are black men that have been put there either for life or for a long term of time. And all that time, the commissary is a business. The telephone company who you use to call your family members is charging triple, prices, which they make money off of that. They make money off the products you're buying that they sell for triple prices to keep yourself clean and whatever else. It's just awful. It's absolutely awful. The fact that these things are still going on. Sorry, I thought Leslie was waving me in there. Let me see what you guys have to say in the comments. I just hope this man's release comes sooner rather than later, while he's still alive, because it's just awful. It's absolutely awful. Oh, you guys are talking about Cosby. You guys are funny. Jail is legal slavery. Our constitution slavery is illegal unless in prison. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. They did. It's just a smart way of slavery, and suppression. Oh, hello, Sherry. Thanks for joining. I didn't see you there. If I'm not mistaken, I think our governor used to be a sheriff. Oh, you're in Missouri. Oh, see, that doesn't surprise me. If he was if he was a sheriff, that does not surprise me. You see, the vibe that I got off this man, watching him speak, already told me, and I'm going to say it again, he comes across like a bloody slave master. He comes across like a slave master when he speaks, like he's enjoying the fact that this man is in jail, and unless he signs it off, he'll stay there for a very long time. Oh, she's still... Sorry, I keep looking at Leslie. I think she's waving me down, but she's speaking on the phone. If he was a sheriff, he's corrupt, 100% corrupt. You know what? Instead of owning the fact that, well, there you go then. Thank you, Sherry. That says it all. That says it all. I know I was right. When I was watching him, I already was like, oh no, this man is not, this man is bad news. The fact, what do you think, Sherry? The fact that he pardoned 36 people, but left this man off the list. Please let me know in the comments. And left this man off the list. Now, if that isn't psychological warfare, playing with your mental, you tell me. You tell me. Because that's what he did. He pardoned 36 people. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, I don't want to stay on for too long. It's been an hour now. So I will try and wrap it up now. Thanks all for joining me, guys. Hector, as per usual, I hope you're good. Leslie, GSP. Who else was there? Let me have a look. Oh, Sherry, of course. Yeah. Thank you guys for joining me. Again, I didn't want to overdo it with what I had to cover. Next week, I will be covering another true crime. Actually, while I got you guys, check out Netflix. Oh, actually, let me, before you guys go, hold on. Do you guys, okay, okay, bloody hell, get your words right. Do you guys watch a series that's on Netflix called Too Hot to Handle? I'm sure you guys have heard about it. If not, I know you guys know somebody that's seen it. If not, you're watching it yourself. Now, season 2 came out last week. It's called Too Hot to Handle. Hey, Tangerine Nix. Sorry, I was just about to wrap it up, you know, Tangerine, but I'm just going to talk a little bit about this show. I was asking, right, maybe you, Tangerine, can let me know. Do you guys watch Too Hot to Handle on Netflix? Season 2 has just come out. Now, it's kind of like Love Island, if you're familiar with those type of shows. It's about this group of people, all attractive people, you know, abs, whatever. Abs, boobs, butt, whatever. It's all going off. They all been sent to this island to basically, they think that this particular group thinks they're there for like a free-for-all orgy, have sex, meet young women, whatever. And they're not. They're actually on Too Hot to Handle. And Lana, you know, the little cone, it's like a little computerized voice that speaks to them from this little cone, like a, you know, what do you call it, an Amazon Alexis or a Google Home thing, speaks to them through there. And they basically, within 12 hours of them getting there, the clock starts and they can't touch, kiss, any type of sexual contact. They can't do anything inappropriate. They cannot self-pleasure, masturbate, nothing, right? And they can win money at the end of it. Now, it's really, really interesting. I find it very entertaining. I know I usually just cover the true crime, but let me know in the comments when you watch this film, when you watch this video, even if you watch it on a catch-up, I don't mind. Thanks for watching anyway. Like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. So I was thinking maybe I can cover that on Friday, just as a little cheeky little Friday night kind of, let's talk about the BS shows, basically. But it's a good little show. And then we've got Love Island that has just started as well in the UK. So that would be interesting. I want to kind of compare the two a little bit, because I actually think this year's Love Island in the UK, I think it's on day 3. It's not even that good. Like, the people are very basic. Like, the girls look pretty with makeup, but when they take it all off at night, it's like they look like different people. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I can't deal with the fake lips, fake boobs, and you know what I mean? Like, I can't deal. Anyway, catch me again in a couple of days. Hit that notification bell, so even if I decide to go live randomly tomorrow, you'll get the notification and you can join me on the live. Yeah, share any comments you've got underneath the video, and you know, thank you for joining. I appreciate the support. So yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. I'll be back on Monday with my usual 90 days. And then I'll probably join on Saturday as well. Join us on Ablavi's channel if you don't if you're not subscribed yet. Subscribe. We'll be covering love after lockup. So I'll see you guys then. See you guys later. And yeah, take care of yourself. Don't forget to moisturize, stay hydrated, and look after yourself. And anybody living in that heat wave at the moment, please, please, please stay hydrated. And yeah, stay cool. Whatever you've got to do, just stay safe. Because there's a lot of people dying apparently. So look after yourselves. All right, I'll catch you guys next time. See you later. On 3, I shall press the button